Another Saturday morning. It's always a delight to have you join us on the program Politics Today on independent television and radio. And that's because it's a simulcast, which means you can watch us live on television, both terrestrial and satellite, and of course online. And then, of course, you can also follow us on the show live on radio. But we also have other social media platforms through which you can be part of the program. You can also go to our website and follow the program live, www.itvregionnigeria.com/live stream. As usual, our studio line will be open at the appropriate time so you can be part of the conversation this beautiful Saturday morning. The 2019 election is already here. Today on the show, we'll look at a couple of issues that have been on the front burner. But most importantly, how do we ensure a violent, free 2019 election? So we're bringing on board today some youth leaders to x-ray this issue and several others that have been on the front burner in recent times, just to take us to the next level in terms of our conversations today on the program Politics Today. My name is Sonny Duke Okosun. As always, it's always a delight to be with you here on the program. Well, I have with me already on set, I'd like to thank very especially a member of the PDP Campaign Council, Edo State. I'd like to thank very especially Comrade Collins Amadi Osaga. Many thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Good morning, viewers out there.
I also have with us in the studio a youth leader, a public affairs commentator, a politician. I'd like to thank very especially Comrade Godwin Iso Godfrey, Comrade Godfrey Iso Godfrey. Comrade, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much, and thank you, dear. Yes.
And shortly, we'll be joined by Fares Okberi, as well as Comrade Harrison Izeko, is a legislator with the Oredo local government legislative arm. They will be joining us shortly on the program. But a couple of issues up for discussion today. Well, the campaigns have started. Are the issues dominating the campaigns? And then secondly, what is the response of the people to the issues being raised? And then, of course, last week, major issue dominated the political space, to be or not to be the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Walter Onoy, was in a very, very serious crisis situation, which is yet to ebb out if what is going on is anything to go by in terms of speculations here and there. And then, from the blues, we saw IGP Idris giving way for Adamu Abubakar to take charge of that position. And that's against the background of weeks and days of speculations that, well, there are plans by the presidency to extend the tenure of Idris. But all that is laid to rest because a new man is in charge. So I'm wondering, what those who were of the views that the tenure of the former IGP, will it be extended because there are plans to change or manipulate the outcome of the 20 election? I'm wondering what those who those believe what their thinkings will be right now. But that's on the side. Gentlemen, once again, thank you for coming on the program. Now, what makes this 2019 election very unique? Even growing up as a child, one thing that I've observed as election is that in Nigeria, election year, election period is always tempestuous. There's always fear of the unknown. I remember back in the days in 1983 or so, I was still a kid. My dad, of blessed memory, had to start moving everybody back home because nobody was sure what the election would eventually. Why do we have this tempestuous situation with our election? Let me start with you, Comrade.
Thank you very, very much. That question indeed is a wonderful one, because I think the basic reason for that, because we don't have a stable system and we don't have a reliable system. We don't have institutions that can be trusted. So in a situation where anybody can wake up and does what he or she feels like, so there is uncertainty. That uncertainty always metaphors to people living in apprehension. And the apprehension automatically will want to make you create a safe haven for your family. And I am sure that was why your father, being who he was, who indeed cared much for his children, had to indeed work harder to create a safety, you know, for his family. But just to say, if we had had a system, or if we have a system that we can indeed trust, one, a major umpire when it comes to election matters, like INEC, the police, you know, the army, who was in recent time now introduced, all still owing to the uncertainty, you know, that had to make them introduce them. Otherwise, the role of the army or the major forces as such was to help secure the sovereignty of a nation. You know, you should see them around the border. You should see them geared towards, you know, protecting the major interest of a state, as it were, in international relations. But just because of desperate politicians that oftentimes Nigerians have given opportunity to own tickets from political parties, and you see their body language, their dispositions, their characters, it creates fear. You know, you see them, you know, using words that gear towards violence, and we have seen a lot of violence happens, and at the end of the day, even when white paper comes, nobody helps to implement recommendation as it were, in order to forestall or to prevent furtherance. So based on that, you can't trust the system.
Okay, so let me bring you in here. So the politicians are to be blamed for this seeming fear that pervades the environment, particularly on every election year.
Well, it's crystal clear. Nigeria's democracy is still at the infantile maturity stage. We are still evolving, and things like these are the characteristics of an evolving democracy and in an emerging system. For Nigeria's case, it's peculiar simply because our elections are always very expensive. They are always very, very expensive, and as such, every stakeholder in the political system, every politician do not want to lose election, and they are ready to do everything humanly possible that they win the election, and as such, there tends to be tension, there tends to be apprehension, and there tends to be too many hula baloo everywhere. Okay. But all boils down to the fact that my party must win. That is where
that's the win at all costs syndrome.
They just have to win. And if you remember the last media chat that was setting the candidate, a certain political party candidate was asked, if you lose, will you accept defeat? He shied by the question. That simply means that Nigerians have this syndrome of I must win. And I think political actors and the political dramatist personnel should take it as sportsmanship. It should be a win-win thing. It is either I win or I lose. And by so doing, if you have such mindset, the tension will be down.
Okay. We've got Comrade Harrison Izeko joining us. He's a member of Oredo Legislative Arm. Comrade, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you very much.
All right, so why this palpable fear that is synonymous with politics in Nigeria? I just gave an instance that back in the days, even growing up as a child, I remember at one time, I think during 1983 or so, my dad had to start thinking of bringing everybody back home because there was the fear of the unknown. I mean, if you sample views and opinion, there seems to be this apprehension. How will this election turn out? Will it lead to crisis? Will the gladiators, if they lose or win, accept the outcome of the results, as it were?
Well, I'm sorry for coming late. I can't see the two issues when we coming. But I think that there's nothing new in it, and politics have been dead over the years. Even when we were young, things like that happen. Even outside politics, there are times that during the Christmas period, you see people are apprehensive. People just want to do everything at all costs. People just want to do what they cannot even do for 11 months, they want to do it within 1 month. So it's normal. Yes, it's an election, anything can happen. But I don't think that at the level of democracy I've grown to, that we should be afraid that if person does the election, there will be crisis. There's no crisis. The system is working. It's a system thing. If INEC declare an election, that this is the person who wins the election, and so be it. It's only a situation where the reverse is the case. When somebody knows that from the field to the collation center to the other level, you know that they won, and INEC declare result in the other way around, you still did not need to go into violence. there are the other side.
Channels.
To court.
Okay.
The other channels.
Okay.
So I don't see any reason why people will be apprehensive. The graduates, the people, the political class, also should also understand the fact that it is not a do-or-die affair. We used to know, there was a president who said that politics would not be do-or-die affair in this country. A sitting president. It was a media broadcast said it's a do-or-die affair. And we have that concept, we have that belief that we must die for power. But I know that where we are today, we have gone beyond those levels.
Okay.
If you turn out the other way around, our party will work according to the rule.
All right, thank you again for joining us on the program Politics Today on Independent Television and Radio. Okay, towards a violence-free 2019, we know the roles that youths play to undermine an electoral process. But it looks like violence is gradually reducing in an election or in our election. And what is taking the place of violence is vote buying. I don't know how we can juxtapose these two extremes, and looking forward to having a great 2019 election. Let me start with you, Comrade Godfrey.
Well, before now, we do hear instances where you have sporadic gunshots in a polling unit, you have some boys masked or wherever come with weapons, steal ballot boxes away. And I think after Comrade Adams Oshiomhole won the case in court, we started hearing a new rumor, like it was what they call scientific rigging. They said the one that cannot be detected by tribunal. That was what led to this vote buying. It's an advanced way of rigging election. Yes, you know, they're going with sporadic gunshots, the ones that you use Pancania to thumbprint the ballot papers, that can be easily detected by, what do they call the
Forensic machine.
the forensic machines in the tribunal. You know, tribunal can easily detect that it's XYZ polling unit, there were violence there, therefore should be cancelled. You know, but this time they said no. There's no point risking our lives. Let's get funds available. And again, the system, the political class, they have a way of impoverishing the people. As I speak with you just now, our campuses are on strike. That again is also a lacuna in the academic sector, thereby depriving the ordinary man of education. And when the mind is not informed, it becomes deformed. And when the mind is deformed, anything goes in. And at that point, you are not in school, you don't have money, you are not working, and somebody came to you with 10,000, 5,000. There's this mindset, make I collect my own now. Then this one will reach my hand, you know. So it's a systemic failure, sir. A situation whereby instead of us to desist from this obnoxious act of electoral processes and start operating on the normal path, we are now increasing or rather growing in this deceptive way. Nigerian political system advanced from the ballot snatching level into vote buying. I think the nickname for it is scientific rigging. You know, that one cannot easily be detected. But all in all, it still amounts to rigging, and it is bad for our system. And our youth and our electorate should be wiser, should not sell their vote.
All right, Collins, I want you to take it up there. I don't know what your thoughts are along those lines.
Yeah, my greatest worry had lie on the fact that people you trust continually deceive people and become worse. Because we have never had this issue of election malpractice compared to before, to the one we have had in the recent time, considering the Osun and Ekiti election, where we have seen and some other few by-elections, where we have seen massive electoral fraud, both in buying and in oppressiveness. You know, when you see people will be asked, you are going there, they block them on the way, who are you going to vote for? We even hear some persons, even those observers that went to these places, they set them on air. They deprive a certain party supporters from not going even close to the field to casting their vote. But if you tell them you were going to vote for them, they will allow you go and still buy your votes. You know, they have even increased from just buying a vote now to now first asking you who indeed is your interest. If your interest go beyond their interest, they even deprive you of going. But if it's their interest, they will allow you go and they will still pay you. And these are quite unfortunate. Just as Godfrey, my friend, had said, when the youths have been made so idle, youth have been on strike for a very long time. Schools are not functional. But just to say, the same youth too, we are not asking ourselves the needed questions. And we are not also getting answers from even some of our youth leaders we have appointed to us at least be frontliner for us. And that is causing more of the problem. Now, ASUU have been in strike for a very long time. We saw on TV in recent time, or not very far from here, we saw some youths who claim to be NANS representative going to the villa to collect some change and endorsing Mr. President. They spoke on TV. I felt pain and I cried. Not that their endorsements even passed the villa, because just among the 15 or 20 of them that went there that have said their decision. But just to say, owing to the fact that you'll be given a certain privilege, you must act in a way of the interest of the nation and the general public. Now, going to the major malpractices that is taking place. Now, the police is another major factor that can help us in curbing all these things. Take it or leave it. The police sees them when they buy votes.
Okay.
Now, if police are now, for example, by law, police can help to prosecute or charge cases to court, and then the court will give verdict. Now, EFCC, of what arm is the EFCC? EFCC was from what agency? EFCC metaphors from the police. Before the EFCC and the ICPC even came, it is police that charges cases and try, both in economic fraud and in normal, criminality, in the society. Now we have passed that stage that the police will now tell you it is not their responsibility, to hold anybody if they are sharing money. INEC will now tell you it's the job of the police to assist us in helping to make sure people don't buy vote.
Okay.
Then they will now say the politicians should talk to their supporters. Who is this the same politicians who are buying you are asking to talk to their supporters? I think in all of this, if the government in power is not participant, an opposition party cannot even gather the muscle to do it.
Okay.
So in all of this, the president of today had not shown quality leadership to helping us refine institutions. And one of the major institutions that can help us as a nation to having a working system, first, is the process in which we elect our representatives.
Okay,
that is the INEC.
Let me push you there. Bring Harrison in. Harrison, you want to comment on violence-free replaced by vote buying, as it were?
Well, I think the issue of violence in our elections are gradually becoming a thing of the past. Now, my brother said that vote buying, it talks about Ekiti and some other states. Well, we are on national television. We should be able to represent what happened. We were not there. People pass information. And people were stopped, they were asked, you're going to vote for this, why do you go to this place? All these are all speculation. How did this thing come about? When did this thing actually started? Who are the actors? The both political parties are guilty of it. My brother is even talking here today. The candidate of your party today who emerged for presidential candidate, how did he emerge? It's not the same issue of buying a vote, paying dollars. So you have no moral justification to condemn these issues. He who comes to equity must come with clearance. These people are guilty of it. It is the same thing. APC share money, PDP share money. They buy votes. So when we are talking, let us say it in a way that people outside there will understand that we actually want the system to stop. It is what happens. But whether you give money or not, people must be convinced to vote for them. And what determines victory on election is even the rally that goes everywhere. It is what happened 24 hours before the election and a few hours before the voting moment. Even right in the field, people still can vote for vote. And if you can send a clear message, you want to convince people that is the truth. I am not encouraging people to go and share money in the field, but I'm making it clear today, nobody should condemn anybody, even those who have done it more practical this time around. It was, we saw it in the last primaries.
Okay.
If somebody can give $5,000 during primaries, then maybe general election will give $10,000 for people to vote for him.
And you have an evidence to show on that.
So let us be a little bit directive when we are putting our issues, so that this issue can be put to stop.
We have a long way to go. We have a long way to go on the program. So
for democracy, and it's not good for this country.
All right. Fares, thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're looking at the issue of violence being free. We're having an election free of violence, but it looks like that's been replaced now with vote buying and vote selling. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I listened to my learned brother here when I came just now, and you know, it's sad that my brother has decided to toe this line, you know, because it is something that is very condemnable, no matter the divide that you may find yourself. You know, what we've seen recently is that there's been a system, you know, a pattern. The current government have decided to use poverty as a weapon to make Nigerians so hungry that when you throw peanuts at them on election day, they will scramble for it. And that's because of the poverty, the endemic poverty that we have found ourselves. You know, Nigerians have become poorer. I keep saying these things. And when people are poor, when they are desperately hungry, they will do anything. You can give them 2,000, 1,000, and they will do whatever you want them to do. You know, just yesterday I was watching, or 2 days ago I was watching this same channel, and there was a program where somebody said they was interviewing on a program where a young man killed somebody, and they asked him, why did you do that? He said he was paid 4,000 naira. So somebody had to go and kill somebody for 4,000 naira. That will tell you how desperate people have become. You know, and this is not just happening because it's an isolated issue. It's because in the last 4 years, or in the last 3.5 years, Nigerians have become desperately poorer than they used to be. Now, let me give you numbers. I keep saying it anytime I come here. Now, from the figures that we have, more than 11 million Nigerians have lost their job in the last 4 years. More than 80 million Nigerians have slipped into extreme poverty. Extreme poverty. And that is over 40% of our population. So you have a population of about 200 million, and you have 80 million of them swimming inside extreme poverty, which means they cannot spend 360 naira in a day. They cannot afford to spend $1 in a day, and that's 80 million of your population. That's the one in extreme poverty. Then you come from the one in extreme poverty to the ones in poverty. Then you see that this, what we are talking about, cannot go away until there is a concerted effort from Nigerians to agree that we have to shift from a government that has used poverty as a weapon to continue to take advantage of the poor in Nigeria. Because if you see those who are collecting money on election day, and those who are sharing, are those who are doing well, taking advantage of those who are miserably poor, those who cannot afford to even cook soup worth 2,000 naira. So when you come and offer them 1,000, it's like it's a blessing to them. And also, because so many politicians have failed in their responsibilities, people feel like they have to take what belongs to them on election day. So you hear them saying, oh, now my own be this, make I just take them now, you know, because we won't hear from them. How do you expect you elect elect someone, he goes into office, and you don't hear from the person again until maybe 2 or 3 months to the elections, and they come back and start, you know, making promises. And then people feel their sense of entitlement is only for that election day. So when they collect that point, they feel, okay, next 4 years. You know, but it is wrong. It is completely wrong, and we all have to condemn it, no matter the divide that we are. But in condemning, we also have to remember that the reason why it's not so endemic is because there is a pattern being used. Let's make these people so poor, so when we give them anything, they will accept it, and that is wrong.
All right. We don't know your source for the figures that you quoted, but we want to believe that those sources are credible. We can't verify those sources.
I can give you the sources.
That's okay. That's okay.
They have been published in your own channel several times.
That's okay. That's okay, gentlemen. That's okay. That's okay. If you just join us, it's still Politics Today on independent television and radio, looking at issues dominating discussions in the 2019 general election, just a couple of weeks away. We're actually counting up to that day. Now, the campaigns have started, and a whole lot is coming forth from those campaigns. But I want to ask our panelists here, are we delivering the right messages to the people? Are we sending the right messages? Are we conscientizing the people on what we have done for those who have been there, and then on what we are going to do for those who are aspiring to take over. Let me start with you, Comrade Godfrey.
Well, I'm a party man, but to a larger extent, I speak like a pure Nigerian and a nationalist to the core. In the build-up of the 2015 general elections, we could see big balls with gargantuan, colossal promises. Those that are attainable and those unattainable. We saw a political party poster that said 24 hours power supply, 3 million jobs yearly. But I speak with you just now. Their campaign poster is dried. Vote this, and that's all. No more promises. As I speak with you just now, there is no ideological difference between the PDP and the APC as far as manifesto is concerned. They just tell us, XYZ party has done this, XYZ party has done this, vote for us. It's all about selfish interest. And worst of all is the fact that the people who are actually ruling this country, whether PDP or APC, they are still very few. And they share themselves either in the PDP or in the APC. Today they move down here, and tomorrow they move down here. So when you are voting for party A, you are only giving them food. Because it's still a Nigerian factor. It is still a systemic failure. Sir, right now, I am not seeing any level of manifesto from any political party as it is just now. Okay. All what we are seeing is go to the polls, vote for us. And that's all.
All right, Collins.
Thank you. My brother was almost there, but just that he didn't just extreme that my party.
No, that's his opinion.
Yes, I know. So I'm only appreciating.
Yes, that's his opinion.
One, we in PDP, we have a principal and a candidate at the presidency who had extreme what has happened to this country and had said one thing that is cardinal that we have all been yearning for was how we can restructure the system politically, economically, how we can balance the system, which is restructuring. And when that comes, you know, inside the restructuring, it has a lot of branches and many things are there.
So we are sending the right, you're sending the right message. That's
sure, that is the message Nigerians have been yearning for, and that have led to many communiques that have been given or submitted to previous government. Precisely, sorry, what was the name of this conference President Jonathan just conveyed before he left? National Convention, COFA, that he organized. All was still to see how, you know, we can work on this. But just the report came few weeks before he left. In wanting to implement directly, our party then, we were one of those advocating that he should just leave it, that President Muhammadu Buhari will assist him implement. After us, at that time, we were also preaching, you know, the same thing.
Okay.
Now it came, and that document have been in the desk of President Muhammadu Buhari till now.
So what is the core of the message being preached now? The core of the message.
Now, we have also promised to reduce poverty to the very minimum.
Okay.
Because the poverty that APC government and President Muhammadu Buhari have brought to the people is alarming and is just too high. Millions of Nigerians that were sacked when he came on board, the government of PDP will do its best to begin to fix the job back for them.
All right,
these are the promises that the party have been making. And just to say,
just hold on. No, let me pause you there. Harrison, yeah.
Well, I want to thank my brothers for their contribution. And just to say that, let me remind myself, let me quote President Olusegun Obasanjo, 2017, to be precise, September 14, where he said that, I quote, that no government can fix Nigeria in 8 years, even when he was still in government. You see, it is easy to destroy a building. It is easy to pull down a building, but to build it will take you a lot of time. I want to remind my brothers here. The military did so much harm to this country. And when democracy took over in 1999, it was worst. till 2015 when Muhammad Buhari
Harrison,
took
what
power.
message are we
The
sending?
message is very clear.
What is the message?
The message, one is continuity. One is that when you plant a seed, you need to germinate and grow before you begin to eat it. So the time to harvest what have been planted is the next 4 years, and you begin to see it. You see our East-West Road, the Niger bridge is going up, railways everywhere. As you speak, there's a rail from Delta, Warri to Opila. You can see it's there.
Yeah.
So gather fast. Let them begin to build issue because there are issues of maybe economic reception and all that. We say people are hungry. And let me remind my brother, you said it because of hunger that made people to begin to buy food. I want to remind you, both Vine started from Yar'Adua when he was coming to power. Is it hunger that made them to buy votes then? Is it not the same PDP? So let's not drive issues. Let's not bang, let's be out. I want to remember brother too. Atiku will be part of the system of this country. Atiku was part of the national coffer. That is not saying it's not the losses. The inability to make Nigeria to work. When he has been in government since 1999, he didn't know that will make Nigeria. He didn't cry that Nigeria has come this way, this country will move forward. He kept quiet. Is it now that is there a bond against there a new sense? That is the only way the Nigeria can move forward.
He's going to drive the process now.
The structure is never the issue. The issue is you and I, and we follow, be patient enough, follow the process of our government, and I'm assuring you, in the next 4 years, you begin to see things turn around for our nation.
All right, so Fares, what are your major pullouts from the campaign so far on both sides?
I hope you give me enough time because everybody.
You are wasting your time now. Just go straight to the point.
Well, I can't help but laugh sometimes when my DJ brother here analyze issues. But I would toe the line of my brother, Comrade. In as much as the campaigns are a little bit, here and there in terms of the kind of campaigns we've always had, and particularly in 2015 where there were a lot of promises, a lot of promises. Somebody promised that they will reduce the price of fuel to 45 naira. They promised that they will pay 5,000 naira to 25 million unemployed. They promised that they would reduce poverty. They promised that there will be 247 electricity. In fact,
3 million jobs.
In fact, at that time, somebody even said that any government that cannot fix power in 6 months should not be voted
thrown
for.
out of office.
You understand? And the same person who made that statement is even the current minister of Works and Power right now. And I tell you, my brother, we've never had it so bad in terms of power supply in Nigeria, particularly in Edo State. Now, let's come back to the issues of the campaigns. Now, the PDP has driven a message of restructuring. Do we need to restructure this country? Yes. Let me give you a pure example. In Kano, last 2 weeks, the governor destroyed 3 million bottles of beer. 3 million. I don't know if you calculate on average a bottle of beer on average, the cheapest beer we should have now in Nigeria should be around 200 or 250. The bottle of beer. Now, times that times 200 and 3 million bottles, and you see what the value of what was destroyed. How do they divide the revenue? The taxes being collected from alcohol is shared amongst the 36 states, which means I buy a bottle of beer in Benin, I drink it, and I pay VAT on that beer to the company. The company takes the money, pays VAT to the federal government, and the federal government puts the money on the table and share it within the 36 states. And when you take the same beer to a state where they are not drinking the beer, they destroy it. But the money they raise from the beer, instead of reinvesting in those areas where the beers are sold, they give it to the areas where they are not even selling beer. And these are the issues that restructuring will address. These are petty issues where you are working, should be eating. Where everybody goes to Abuja to collect, it doesn't work like that. That's why we have a system where some states are extremely poor, they're just waiting for Abuja, while some states are generating. And these are the issues where Atiku Abubakar is going to address. The restructuring is not about dividing Nigeria, because that's the impression most people are creating. Yeah. It's not about dividing Nigeria, it's about addressing issues. Okay. About addressing issues that concern us as a people. Okay. Let everybody work, let everybody raise money, and let the money be used
according to its capacity.
Of course. Okay. Why do I need to import my goods to Lagos when we have a port in Benin? Why do I need to import my goods from Lagos when I have a port in Warri? Let every region, let every zone use its resources to develop its area. That's what we are saying. Okay. The North have agriculture. Let them use agriculture to develop the North. The South have oil. Let them oil to develop the South.
Okay, let me just help us to take this discussion just up the ante a little bit in our conversation this morning. The debates have started. Of course, we watched the vice presidential debate a couple of weeks back, and then, of course, the presidential debates are also on. Today, at 7 o'clock, our studios will be joining the network to be part of that presidential debate. What are your expectations, gentlemen? Because we're looking at projecting the right issues, promoting the right message, sending the right messages to the average voter out there to help them make proper decisions. I mean, I watched a few days back the candidates on NTA network where Mr. President and his vice were on set with an independent media organization in collaboration with the Nigerian Television Authority to anchor that program. A lot of issues came out. A lot of things that people didn't quite understand came out from that conversation. So what are your expectations today from the presidential debate? Yeah.
It's very obvious. First of all, my first expectation is the fact that I want President Muhammadu Buhari to be present in that debate. 2, I want Atiku Abubakar to be in that debate. Now, if those two men are there, I want them to tell us what they will do for Nigerians. Look, it is clear. Nemo dat quote non habet. You can't give what you don't have. If you have what it takes to rule Nigeria, come and tell us. We want to hear from you. I was 100% disappointed in the last show where the president and the vice president were sitting. It was the vice president that was speaking on behalf of the president. And it's wrong because the ball ends on the table of the president. Now, my expectation is clear. We already have issues in this country. We already have colossal issues in this country. I want these leaders to come and tell us how, as in workable plans, not utopia plans that are not attainable in this country. We want workable plans, blueprints that will lead us from our present state of economic comatose to the Eldorado we have been dreaming about. We want a direct blueprint of how security challenges will be addressed in this country.
Okay. Okay. Collins, yeah.
Just as what my brother, just to thank him too, because we're almost hitting on the same thing. I would want a debate where I would see Mike Principal fully on set, because I trust him. I know he's always been able to say just what he wants to do. And I will always wish to also see the APC candidate. I do not know if it's going to be Ogboru or Buhari, because...
What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
The Ogboru factor.
Ogboru is the governorship candidate, APC governorship candidate, Delta State.
I watched some rally a few days ago where
it's like
Mr. President was giving out the presidential flag to another person. I did say...
that was just a slip. I mean, it could happen to anybody.
Oh, you are correcting me now. But what, just as I've said, we really want them, both of them have been serious in the business. We want Mr. President to tell us what he has done for the past 4 years and what he still intends to do. And we recall the last time he also told us age was no more on his side. If the age has not come back, and that is why he wants to run, and how he's also not going to manage our youth that are lazy, you know, which he said abroad. So I think he needs to be asked some questions. And for Mr. Atiku, I think he needs to also tell Nigeria how he was able to help us to now get the GSM today we now have, you know, bringing in, helping Obasanjo to...
Okay, so you expect so amongst other candidates, the APC and the PDP candidate to be there.
That's what because they are the two frontliners.
Okay, Harrison, let me get your thoughts.
Well, it's very simple. The president will be there.
Are you assuring us?
I am not the president. I just told you.
No, I'm asking the questions. I'm asking the questions. Yes, I'm asking the question. Please go ahead.
He have appeared before, and he have told Nigeria what he have done. He's only coming if he's going to be there today. He's coming to just tell you how he want to contribute, where he have stopped. Yeah. The East-West road that he have done, the road from Bauchi, Kanu, all the roads that he have done, the Niger Bridge that he never abandoned. He started Jonathan started it, and he continued with it. It didn't stop. The railways, the programs, the UWI program of that are on. He's going to come and explain to Nigerians that he's going to continue with these things. And the issue of agriculture, which have been a major progress in this administration. Today, we can the rice we consume in this country is being farmed here. We import about 3% of rice, but before today, Nigerians spend billions of naira to import rice to this country. This is going to be gradual, and it's going to explain to Nigerians how we are going to start from there. Nabara talks about age, the issue of age. Between Atiku and Buhari, they are age mates. So if you have brought a younger person, that's when you have the moral judgment to say that.
Okay, all right. So I think you want to anchor your points on that, Harrison.
It's going to be very clear.
All right. Fares, expectations on the debate, the presidential debate today.
I can confirm that Atiku Abubakar is on his way to attend that debate. He left the US last night, which he might arrive this afternoon, and he will be prepared for that debate. He has always challenged President Muhammadu Buhari for the debate. Let's listen to ourselves. This election is between the APC and the PDP. You know,
We have other parties.
So the election.
We have other parties. Yes, we have other parties.
While I was studying political science, I did a course that had to do with political reality. Political reality is the present reality of politics, and we have to take that into consideration. Right now, today, anybody who understands the Nigerian politics understands that this election is between the PDP and the APC at the federal level, at the presidential elections. Now, that's aside. Now, talking about the expectations, the APC has come out severally to say that President Muhammadu Buhari will not attend the debates. The APC UK yesterday released a statement saying that the only debate they want to attend are town hall meetings between the vice president and the president together. You know, it's a shame that we find ourselves in this
quagmire.
This quagmire, sincerely, because debates are part of a process that strengthens the institutions of democracy. In every part of the world, people debate before elections so that people can hear, the populace can hear them, they can discuss the issues, they can, you know, tell them what they do. But unfortunately, we have a government that has failed woefully, that I cannot even tell you what they have done.
That's a subjective opinion.
I'm telling you, it's my opinion, and it's my opinion, and
it's a subjective opinion.
It's my opinion, and
all right, Harrison,
I'm right to my opinion.
I'm in charge here.
I'm in charge. I'm telling you, and I can give you reasons why I tell you that the current government have failed woefully. Any government that under your government, 11 million people lose their jobs. That's according to the MBS. That's according to the MBS. Last month, the MBS released its report, despite the fact that the government, in December, the MBS released their report on unemployment. And with the unemployment level we have is over 20 million youths unemployed. And that's more than the population of Senegal. That's more than the population of Senegal and Sierra Leone together. So you have a bustling people with energy who have been laid off from their job because a government who came in with so much promise that they will create 3 million jobs annually. Instead of them coming to tell us that we've created 12 million jobs in the last 3 or 4 years, now more than 11 million have lost their jobs. Okay. And this is a disaster. This is not something that we just overlook.
Okay, all right. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. I want to say something, which is that can't we give this present administration some credit for sustaining projects which previous administration or past administration started?
Sorry, you mean projects?
Yes, projects. Can't we give them credit?
You mean projects, propaganda projects?
I'm not talking about propaganda projects.
No, because I can
talk about railway, for example.
Let me comment.
Yes. Okay, now just hold on. Let's start it from here. Let me comment. Yes, Comrade Godfrey. Yeah.
You know, they are party men. I'm a nationalist.
Okay.
President Muhammadu Buhari might have been alleged to have failed, but not complete or colossal failure. The fiasco is to some segments and areas. He also has success in certain areas. I must give him kudos. Number one, for the fact that he continues on projects of the previous administration is laudable. I must confess. One of them is the Port Harcourt International Airport. Yes, that is on ground. It's not propaganda. I have been in that airport before where it was ongoing. Now, the railway construction is
I would disagree.
Excuse me. Just hold on.
Go ahead. But I would disagree with you later.
Hold on. Just calm down.
Go ahead. Don't worry. Go ahead.
I work in Onitsha.
Yes.
The Onitsha-Enugu road is under construction.
Go ahead. Continue.
And the road is massive. It's a good project. It's a good road. I am not just saying this. I have applied that road. I have driven past that road.
Go ahead.
The project is ongoing. But the second Niger bridge, sir, I pass that bridge almost on a weekly basis.
So you pass the second Niger bridge almost on
the main Onitsha bridge.
Okay.
And when you are there, you'll be seeing the second Niger bridge.
Okay.
Nothing is going on there.
Okay.
Work is going on. Watch the.
But the Onitsha, Enugu Road,
I'm telling you.
the Onitsha, Barbara, 3 years ordinarily ought to have been enough to complete the East-West Road. I applied that road some months ago. Let's not lie.
Okay, let me pursue that. So let me have Collins here.
Thank you very
Yes.
much. You know,
Continuity of projects under this administration. Unprecedented.
The continuity that is said to be seen are political or election construction. And now let me tell you.
No.
I am coming.
No.
And now let me tell you. Some of this, you know, this is one government that does not even have a blueprint. They don't have a choice but to push and support most of the projects that have been initiated by PDP government. Because they don't have a blueprint of anything. Whether power, railway, water, none. Now let me tell you. Most of these projects, when government gives out projects, sometimes have a lifespan of 10 years, 14 years. So Buhari ordinarily cannot even stop it when a certain percentage or an upfront have been paid. Now, the second Niger bridge, approved and awarded by the PDP government, to last within or about 7 or 6 years, precisely. And a payment to be made, I am coming, sir, a payment to be made quarterly. At a certain level, you work, they pay you. All these roads they are talking about, their own is that they are continuing. They didn't start. Now, let me tell you, these are jobs, I am coming, sir, that are already awarded. Not even them can stop it. Not even because, one, when you stop a job that have passed through due processes, and all the institutions that need to approve them have approved them.
Are you saying this is not
it
commendable?
It is only the courts sometimes that can revoke.
Are you saying this is not commendable?
Now, because they do not have a choice to continue the government of progress that have continued.
Let me pause. You know, Comrade Goffey, you had your time. Comrade Goffey, you had your time. Let me bring Harrison. Harrison, yeah.
I wouldn't want to blame him because a few months ago it was in the other side. The same person come here.
Harrison, can you go ahead with the point?
Yes. You see, we must commend this government.
To an extent.
We must commend this government. This is a country where when a certain president will award a project, money will be collected. Equipment will not get to that road, and heaven will not fall in this country. This is a country where when new government come aboard, it wants to award his own because he already knew that the person that awarded that road collected all the money. So he need to now award his own and also collect his own. In this time, it's not like that.
And it's not
because
probing them.
We have a man of integrity.
And it's not probing them.
And the man have come out, yes, your card, the PDP.
He's not probing them.
Okay, now when we make it rally, it becomes difficult for us to maximize time.
To run the way it's supposed to be.
Okay.
The judiciary have not predictions.
Meaning doesn't have capacity.
Okay,
so this is commendable.
Because this is a man who believes in the rule of law. This is a man who has to come when he has stopped. And you have ordered new roads, and the roads are ongoing. I have just told you, be patient a little. The next 4 years, you will see the reality.
All right, Fares.
You have no choice.
Fares, let me get Fares in.
I said I was going to disagree with him.
Yeah.
On the Port Harcourt International Airport. If you go back to those projects, we had 4 projects. We had 4 airport projects that was concessioned with the federal government at that time under Jonathan with the CECC, which is the China civil construction company, and it was the Port Harcourt Airport, the Lagos Airport, the Abuja Airport, and I think the Kano Airport. And those projects, the federal government, as at that time, paid their own money, and the company also contributed, I think, about $1 billion also for those 4.
So they were partnership projects.
Those 4 terminals.
Okay.
You know, as at that time in 2014, the Lagos one was, you could see that they were already building Lagos and the Abuja and the Port Harcourt then. You know, I'm not saying that, you know, when the government completes a project, it's not commendable. But when we resort to the use of propaganda to sell an agenda, it becomes the purpose is defeated.
Okay.
When the government resorts to the use of propaganda, you know, on projects that are not ongoing, let's quickly look at some of the key projects that was awarded under Jonathan before he left office. The Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, a project awarded at the cost of $1 billion. Then the Benin the Benin Auchi to Kene Road. You know, as at the time the former Minister of Work left office, where they have expanded the road to, that was where the job stopped. And let me remind you that in 2016, the same government, the Minister of Work said that the government spent 2.5 trillion. 2.5 trillion. They spent 2.5 trillion. That is the highest amount ever spent on capital projects in Nigeria, ever. They spent 2.5 trillion on capital projects, and you cannot point to major projects that have been awarded and completed.
Okay,
no
all right.
projects that have been paid
I'll
for
pause it there because my time is up.
Right
Farai.
now, what they are doing is patching the Benin Auchi Road. That's
All
what
right.
concerns us.
All right, all right.
Patching.
At least it's motorable for now. That's something we should check
It's not about being motorable.
Okay.
When did your party awarded it?
All right. Final word from you. Final word.
My final word is very clear.
Yeah.
Nigerians should come out on the 16th of February and vote massively for our party, vote for our president.
Okay.
And also to inform you that this president has never retrenched anybody. I don't know where my brother is getting 11.
All right. Let me. Like, can we proceed? Collins, a final word. Harrison, that's okay.
My last word is to beg Mr. President and the APC to stop borrowing because their time is up. They cannot continue to plunge Nigeria into debts the more. And we want to appeal to Nigerians, more importantly, Edulites, to come out on that very day of election to vote with full confidence and don't be intimidated.
All right, Comrade Godfrey.
Well, it's very clear. My message is simple. Nigerians should come out en masse and vote for the candidate of their choice. Simple.
All right, vote and not fight is our parting words on the program today. And then shine your eyes. If you're comfortable the way things have been, you know what to do. You do the needful. If you're not comfortable, you also know exactly what to do. But most importantly, go get your PVC and get ready to vote. All things being equal, everything will go on smoothly, and this country will move forward again. Gentlemen, I want to thank you for coming. Faris, Harrison, Collins, and Comrade Godfrey, thanks for coming. That's our program today. We hope you had a great time with us. Be sure to join us next week, Saturday, when we shall bring you another edition of the program. Till then, stay blessed and bye for now.